Hey everybody, it's like midnight, New Orleans. Robert with Threefold, how's it going? I'm here with Annette Evans, a new friend and an awesome shooter and a fantastic trainer, and just an all-around, been talking to her all weekend and learning a bunch. So I wanted to ask her what she thought of Tac-Con, like her favorite part. I know you got to see a seminar that I didn't get to see this weekend. So feel free to share what you thought was awesome. If you could tell everybody the name of your company, where you're at.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the kind words. I'm Annette Evans out of Race Street Range. You might also know me as Beauty Behind the Blast. Tac-Con has been a fantastic experience for me. I've heard so much about it over the years, and finally getting here was really great. And what I loved the most, besides all the awesome training I got and all the awesome lectures, was the last two sessions I went to this afternoon. And the first afternoon session was a rapid fire history of modern firearms training, about the last 100 years or so. So, where did we come from? How did we get to where we are today in terms of what we consider to be good defensive, good law enforcement training? And then I turned around and went to the second afternoon lecture, which we closed out the conference with, which was about the changing face of Second Amendment people. Maybe firearms owners, maybe not. And this was done by Tiffany Johnson and Akil Kadir, which I'm gonna totally butcher. I'm so sorry, watch me, it's late. In any case, what's really amazing about it is we're so used to this idea of gun owner in America looks, well, kind of like you, which is, not a bad thing. You are currently the majority, and I could name you an awful lot of white men who are wonderful advocates for not just the Second Amendment community, but for people. They're just great people.
John Correa.
Absolutely. But the firearms owner in America, this pro-Second Amendment person in America, isn't just that.
Right.
We have people of all races, we have people of all genders, we have people of all political stripes, people who are anything that you can imagine, and also pro-Second Amendment. And I'm saying pro-Second Amendment because it's not just about people who own guns, it's people who get why we own guns and are totally okay with that.
Right.
And Tiffany and Ock's session talked about, well, how do we bring all of these people in under our tent,
right,
and make them part of our community? Because as you know, as I know, we welcome them.
Yeah, right.
Right? I mean, look at my new friend here. But how do we communicate that out to everyone else? And that's what their session was about. I understand that John Correa taped this, and it's going to be showing up on as extra.
Awesome.
I'm really hoping so. This is a message that needs to go far and wide.
Agreed.
The Second Amendment right now is in fact for everyone. And I thought that was just such a hopeful message to bring out of Tac-Con.
Mm-hmm.
Why we do what we do is for all the people we love, and not just some of the people we love because they've got the right politics and the right skin color.
True.
But is for all of the people that we love.
Right, and we talked about that earlier. Is we do this because we love. It's not something that hey, this is fun. It's not just fun to do. That defensive mindset is based on the love that we have for others, our family, our friends. That was another topic we talked about, was friends and value.
Of ourselves.
And then obviously, the love of yourself. And to be able to go out and process that to other people is sometimes difficult because they don't see it that way, which I think you would look for her to talk about this later, because we were having a discussion that I think is going to be really valuable for a lot of people later. Right? Yeah, definitely.
After I get some sleep.
Right. Late night. Guys, if you get a chance to do something like a conference, John's got one coming up in September.
I think it's going to be August, September
out in Kansas, which is going to be a really great event. I know Shooter Symposium is coming up soon. Scott Jedlinski, a bunch of other great instructors. If you get a chance to go to a conference where there's multiple instructors and multiple topics, and you can kind of cafeteria style choose what you're going to get, and kind of bite-sized. Like, hey, am I really interested in this? Am I really not interested in this? It's been super awesome for me this weekend. I got to meet a crap ton of awesome people this weekend. Annette being one of them. We've been hanging out with John Correa, Neil Weeder, Mike and Lisa. We're here. Sorry, I don't remember you guys' last name. I got to talk with Greg Elefitz. Am I saying it right now? The Gorilla Fritz. He was awesome. Cecil Birch. I mean, just Tom Givens it's his Tac-Con, his range master. Just a ton of people. Melody Lauer was on the channel earlier. She's awesome. John Johnston from Ballistic Radio had dinner with the guy tonight, and he's awesome. Just average people in real life. And we kind of pedestal them sometimes, but they're really just you and me. But they're out reaching people and getting training out there. So get a chance, get some people. Melody mentioned earlier, who was the last person your instructor trained with? What training classes do they go to? That kind of stuff is super valuable to vet out a good instructor. Like, what are they doing? I've been really blessed this year to catch a couple student level classes. I've got another one coming up with Scott Jedlinski in June. John is coming up to Denver. I don't know if you're around, if you'd like to come out to Denver. We've got a guest room. Amy, it would be okay if she used a guest room, right? She's using a couch here. I don't see what the problem is. But yeah, get some training. Get some stuff out there. Get some skills under your belt.
There are so many amazing instructors out there right now. Yeah. Some of them are the big names that you might have heard of, and some of them are just some local regional folks out there. There are a lot of us who are in this training community who know who these guys are. So if maybe you can't make it to a class with some big name national instructor, well, reach out to them and say, hey, I want to learn some stuff. Who would you recommend in my area?
Yeah.
We can help you out there. And you might be surprised at the resources that are around. I'm in the Philadelphia region. People, there's not a lot of training here. I know I had a lot of trouble finding training in our area.
Sure.
Well, I'm bringing the entire ShivWorks collective to Philadelphia in 2019.
Do
you
that.
have no excuses.
Do that. Really quick, the evolution of firearms training with Tom Givens this afternoon, I got to sit on that with her. You'd be amazed at who's trained under who. Like the big names we've all heard, Clint, Moss, all these guys. And you start referencing like who has trained under them and mentored under them. And you start seeing that really nobody's reinventing the wheel. Can always knock some rust off, get some new good ideas out there. But people are really just passing the torch. And we need to keep doing that. That's what Tom said is.
We take what we've learned, we refine it. Just like martial arts has a lineage.
Right.
I'm new to BJJ, and everybody in the world knows it because it's BJJ, and that's what you do when you're new to BJJ.
Right.
But what you know is like, I talked to somebody who doesn't really know me that well. Oh, where do you train? Who do you train with? I train at Precision Jiu-Jitsu, owned by Rob Shire, who's a black belt under Henzo and Ricardo Almeida. And they'll go, oh, you're a Henzo gym. I understand what you're talking about. I understand what kind of styles you're talking about because all Henzo gyms have certain similarities. Right. And then if you sit in, you start learning who is trained under who and who has been mentored by who. You're going to get, Pat Rogers really particularly worked with these folks. Right. Or, Tom Givens has his proteges. Everybody has their proteges. And it doesn't make one instructor better than another, but it tells you kind of where they come from. Right. Half of us in the U.S. right now can trace ourselves back to Gunsight in one way or another.
Who knew?
The way in which we trace ourselves back to Gunsight, though, that changes the way in which we look at things. Right. And that's no bad thing. And sometimes you're looking for, I want to make sure I get the different branches of the tree. And sometimes you're like, I really, really want to dig in and see what's going on.
Yeah. So it's good, guys. Get out there, find out what you didn't know. Like that was something for me. I had no idea Cecil was part of ShivWorks. I had no idea Chuck, Haggard is part of ShivWorks. I had no idea.
Chuck is actually not part of the collective, but he's very, very close with all the guys there.
He was covering a lot of the same ground.
So Chuck covers some similar material, some different material. Chuck Haggard, OC spray,
Right.
low light work, all sorts of other stuff. Snubbies, revolvers. One of the last people out there, along with
Doing
de Bethencourt, doing heavy revolver work. Claude Werner. So, you know, I'm tossing out all these names
Right.
so that you can go Google them and go like, oh, I've never heard of this guy, but...
That was me this weekend. Like, I didn't know half the names on the list for the class roster, so I'm like, am I going to want to train with this guy? What's he teaching?
Yes.
And I'm bouncing it off other people, and friends, local friends, are going, oh, dude, you get a chance to train. Oh, Craig Douglas, you know, if you get a chance to... And then I get out here, and Annette's like, dude, you got to do it. And his class was full, so I didn't get to do it. But I did get to do more with Cecil Birch because of that. So
Cecil is awesome. He
yeah,
gave me
you
this
guys-
great little bonus pep talk. Oh, actually, I horned in on a great little bonus pep talk he's given to somebody else, and I got a lot out of it today on what it means to be afraid before you walk onto the field, but walk onto the mats, really. We were talking about jiu-jitsu.
Right.
And doing it anyway.
Yeah, that
And
nervousness.
everybody is nervous.
I think we were all
Everybody
standing
is
around
scared.
listening to the conversation.
And we all aren't certain about what we do, and it's not a beginner thing. It's not a new person thing. It's at every single level.
Yep.
You know,
I agree.
I do this stuff all the time. I've trained hundreds of hours that I can document, and let me tell you, when I go to a new class, I'm still like, I really hope I know somebody who's here. I really hope I'm going to do okay.
Right. So I want to brag on her.
Same.
You stepped up onto the line with some pretty hefty
It's good shooters.
shooters this weekend, right? And the matches, it was really cool because you get to shoot a match with people that, like, you're way out of their skill level. But you line up and you shoot the same match.
Competitive shooting is like that. It's
It
cool.
was really neat. And you got out there and put some lead down and got some good hits. And she really got the final shoot off, so that was awesome, right? And then
You had some fun there.
I mean, I said it's no big thing to go up against Melody. I mean, she's got quite the rep in the business, and so I mean that was kind of cool. And Lane Givens is no shabby shooter either, right?
I think Lynn didn't shoot the Vicky Farnham shot. I don't
Vicky,
think
that's sorry.
Yeah.
See me not knowing the names.
Cindy Bowser took the ladies' title this year. Cindy, I have been fortunate to shoot with for far longer than either of us would like to admit. She's out of the East Central PA region as well. I've been shooting with her forever. It's a very small community. We welcome new blood because, you know, after a while, it's kind of like, you know, that brother or sister you spend a little too much time with. Yeah, it was great. The men's field was fantastic this year. Some real talent, some surprises.
That
And
young
that's-
kid that came out of nowhere.
Rick Remington did an amazing job. I am so proud of him. He won the men's title this year in the shoot-off. It's competitive shooting is kind of like my other great love. And the cool thing about it, everyone's afraid of it, and they're like, "Wow, this is so hard." Well, you're never going to make it any easier unless you do it. Oh, wow, you know, there's all these like really good people doing it, and you know, I'm afraid of looking bad in front of them. Trust me, we're more worried about how we're doing than how you're doing. As long as you like don't point a gun at me or do something really dumb,
Right.
and you're like kind of nice and helpful and ready to go when you're supposed to go. We think you're awesome.
I mean, I think the best advice I got looking into and starting into competitive shooting was you're only competing against yourself. And I think that was really helpful for me because I was like, oh, well, I think I know where I stand in this, so at least I'm not, because you watch some guy zip off, 7 shots in a half second and he hits all A-box. You're like, I should just go home. But really, it doesn't matter how good he shoots, it matters what you do. And then John's real big about talking about metrics and quantifying what you're doing.
That dude you're competing
yeah.
against, it's not just about beating him. Like that's not necessarily the goal. It's how much better can I do against? Can I get better faster than he's getting better?
Right.
Can I make some leaps and bounds in my performance so I'm only getting beat by this much instead of this much? And the cool thing about getting beat by this much is it might be by a guy who's really awesome, because in competitive shooting, Rick told me while he was doing the shoot-off today, I can't believe I just shot against Masada Yu.
And beat him.
Yeah, right? Which was really kind of amazing.
I didn't say that out loud, boss. So.
Kind of amazing. But, that's not uncommon in the competitive shooting
Mhm.
world. I shot my last major match with Max Michelle. Just a dude shooting a match.
Mhm.
Just a girl shooting a match on the same squad. Okay, I pulled a couple strings to get on that squad, but it was a squad open to ordinary people, and we shot the match together. And that's one of the cool things about competitive shooting in the U.S. is we don't have like a minor league and a major league, and the pros only shoot in the major league. You can be a minor league kind of shooter and shoot in the big leagues, and as long as you're comfortable with getting beat by max by 45%, then life is fine.
Hey.
And you know what? Getting beat by somebody like Max by 45%, that's kind of an honor. Just saying. Get out there, try it. If you go to something like Tac-Con that has a match and you're able to do it, do it. The worst that happens, you don't do very well. That's okay.
I didn't get to do it. I was in classes. I should have. I tried, but there was so much to learn, and I wanted to bring it back to you guys. So,
if you have the chance, sometimes you get busy and things like that, but if you've got the chance to do it, it's really valuable. One of the things that you learn, especially at something like Tac-Con's match, is, how are you going to do in a real life situation?
It was a fairly realistic match, too. I mean, it wasn't just
the shootout,
some gamey thing. It was actually...
Yeah.
I didn't think it was gamey, but...
I mean, there's always some artificiality when you're at the range. That's just the way it is.
Right.
There's no way we can make it real without going to force on force and UTM or simunition, something like that. But let's be honest here. You can't solve the easy shooting problem in competitive shooting. What do you think it's going to look like in real life?
Right, you're going to fall apart, yeah. So I know you're tired. One quick last thing, if you want it to be a quick last thing, if you want to dig into it, cool. But I have a 14-year-old young lady who's getting into shooting. What would you say to someone who comes to you and says, hey, and I'm not picking on the ladies, but I know the ladies sometimes get a little bit of criticism. We get the crazy Uncle Joe, gives you the gun that's too big, now you got to flinch. So I can't stand Uncle Joe, by the way. But Melody kind of addressed this earlier, and I thought she had some good stuff, good words of wisdom. What would you say to a young female shooter, or not young necessarily, but just a female shooter getting started, that is maybe interested but kind of on the fence?
The guys who are giving you that kind of advice are in fact coming from a place of genuinely wanting to help you. They're helping you in ways that are not particularly actually helpful, but that is separate from the fact that they're trying to genuinely be helpful. Mm-hmm. And I think it's important to remember that when we go and tell Uncle Joe very nicely, thank you for your advice, I'll take that under consideration, I'll think about it. And then go to the people that you trust, do the thing that you're going to do. And maybe next time you're going to go, Uncle Joe, I really appreciate your help, but I'm working with my, teacher over here, and it's really confusing when you say this other stuff to me. Can you just cheer me on? Can you just cheer me on? Because I know that's what you really want to do.
Awesome.
It's really tempting, and I've been at points in my life where I'm just like, oh my God, just shut up.
Just stop.
Just stop. You're not helping. It's really frustrating. Stop treating me like a child because I am not a child. Mm-hmm. But Uncle Joe probably is just really excited you're there.
Right.
And let's not forget that. Well, we gently remind Uncle Joe, hey, I'm a big girl.
Right.
And I can do this. So thank you. I appreciate the sentiment, but I'm going to go do this thing I'm going to do.
Right. Awesome. And we said this earlier, we really do come from that place of love. It's why we do this stuff. So, awesome. Uncle Joe's okay. Just maybe don't start her off with a 500 Smith & Wesson. That's a bit much for even me. And
maybe Uncle Joe just say, hey, honey, you're doing a great job right now. I can't wait to see where you're going to go next when you get better.
Awesome. And find yourself a good instructor. That'll be a huge bonus. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really do.
Hanging out with you all
really,
weekend.
yeah. We get to do a little crazy here at times. This one right here, you see her on the street? Don't mess with her. It's the hat. It's the purple hat. Thank you so much. If you, and I said before, if you get a chance to come out, you're ever in Colorado, the Denver metro area, let us know. I'm pretty sure we have a guest room we can throw down for you too. So, save you a little hotel fare and
awesome.
We'll get you out there. You can see
I've
my.
been out to Denver in almost 20 years.
You're overdue.
I
You're
am overdue.
You guys, you're gonna miss out on all the crazy things that are going on in Denver right now.
More yuppies.
I try to be nice. I had a great conversation with Joe Johnston about hipsters and liberals and Democrats. That was really cool.
And a surprising number of whom are pro-gun and go hunting.
Right?
Figure that one out.
Yeah, I bumped standing in line at the airport on the way out here, talking to a guy, and he's like, "Well, I'm a Democrat with a gun," and I was like, "God bless you, bro. That's awesome." So we really can reach across those arbitrary, and I think they're arbitrary political lines, and find that common ground, that commonality, and really just kind of figure things out.
With good food, because there ain't nothing more free game and free range and organic than that deer that you just got.
Right.
In October.
Awesome. I do still have some jalapeno deer sausage in the fridge if you make it out before we eat it all. Totally willing to share. Once again, thank you so much. I don't want to keep her up any later. I have to leave at 3 to get to the airport. So, guys, thanks so much. I hope you guys have a great night. I will be back in Denver tomorrow morning. You're leaving out in a day or two?
In a couple of days. We're going to enjoy the city.
Enjoy the rest of your trip out here and have fun.
Safe travels home.
Try to talk Greg into coming up for me, too. How do you say it again? I keep getting this wrong. ECQ?
ECQC is Craig Douglas's class.
ECQC. There you go.
Or you can do EWO, Edge Weapon Overview, and he's got a great arm movement instructors class. He's got a vehicle class. It's all wonderful curriculum.
And that's all part of the ShivWorks collective?
That's all Craig's classes in the collective, and then the rest of the collective has their own classes
where they
as
dig
well.
in really deep. Guys, I learned a ton about ShivWorks this weekend, the collective, and it's different than what I was led to believe by some folks. It's really awesome the way they do things. They've got the kind of spoon feed class where they kind of do it, and then they all can dig into a particular subject and really get you going. So if you get a chance, hey, maybe someday in the future, Threefold will have them up. But otherwise, I'm going to call this a night, and we'll talk to you guys later. See ya.
Hey.